now is Zachary Gundu, who is a professor of archaeology at the Ahmadu Bello University. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
Good morning. It does help us make sense of what your reading of all that has been happening is.
Well, in a way, if you are the victim, the killings are senseless. But if you are the one doing the killing, it makes sense. A lot of Nigerians don't appreciate our history. They don't also appreciate what has been happening in this country, especially in the past few years. I believe that if people know history, they will know why the Fulanis are doing this. If people know our recent history, they will know that there is an attempt to grab a lot of land from the people of this country for the Fulani of the whole world. For people who don't know, the Fulanis have their original homeland in Guinea, that is in Futajalon. And they had an outing from Guinea. From 1804, the outing in Nigeria was represented by the Usman Dan Fodio Jihad. It succeeded. There was a caliphate which they established outside even the boundaries of this country, because the caliphate from Sokoto, if you go up country, it went into Chad, it went into Niger. And then from independence, we have had about 3 Fulani leaders who have led this country. But in the original homeland, which is Guinea, the Fulanis have not been allowed to lead Guinea. So Nigeria has become their second preferred homeland, where they are inviting the Fulanis of the whole world to come and claim as their own country. And people should realize this. And if we sit down here on our ancestral lands in this country, and somebody comes in to kill us, it becomes a problem. Let me just say this.
Professor, I'm afraid I have to interrupt you.
No, let me just say this.
Just before you say what you say, or what you want to say, I want to ask, how do you have, how are you able to draw this thread? You have talked about history. Yes. We all know that before now, yes, we fought into tribal wars. Yes. There were conquests. The Benin Empire, for instance, was quite expansive.
Yes.
And it also, made its own conquests. Yet nobody has been able, whenever Ife or Modake is fighting, nobody is talking about prehistorical or, pre-colonial wars to justify what is happening now.
The Ife Modake war is a local phenomenon. In Nigeria, what happened? When the British people came in, remember, the caliphate was a pre-colonial phenomenon, and they gave the Fulanis some privileges even over the Hausa states, because they manipulated Islam to take over the Hausa states, and they gave them some privileges over the Hausa states and other Nigerian groups which they used to raid as slaves. When the British people came in, people who know colonial history will know that they privileged them. They decided to divide and rule this country by privileging the Fulanis over other groups. So what happened is that the Fulanis moved with their privileges from the pre-colonial period into the colonial period. And now that we have independence, they are also moving with the privileges they had under the colonial government into independent Nigeria. And independent Nigeria is not a feudal system. Independent Nigeria cannot allow a group of people to come into this country from all over West Africa and claim this as their own country. What happened during colonialism was that the states we have presently became fixated in terms of their boundaries.
Well, my question is, how do you know that there is an invitation, as you put it, from local Fulanese or Nigerian Fulanese, as it were, to their counterparts in, say, Guinea?
They have not hidden that. They have not hidden that. Remember, the governor of Kaduna State has admitted that he used state funds in Kaduna to pay Fulani people from outside the country from coming to attack us. Remember that the government is now belatedly saying that the people who are responsible for this are foreign mercenaries. Remember that the Inspector General of Police before this one and the Minister of Agriculture has argued consistently that the people attacking this country are not Nigerians, they are from outside. What this means is that if somebody comes from outside, he's coming at whose instance? She has become the second preferred homeland of the Fulani.
I bring to you a message of truth and freedom, for it is only the truth that can set us free from the bondages of war and propaganda, which we confuse as history. My name is Colonel Emmanuel Nwora Nwobosi. I am 80 years old. It is time to be bold. I am too old to lie. I am not afraid to die. It is time to tell you why we had to try. I am the last of the original crew plotters of January 15, 1966 with Major Chukwuma Kaduna Nzogu. I knew Nzogu well. We went to school together. We trained together. We trained at Sandhurst Military Academy, UK. We lived together. Nzogu was our first head of military intelligence and uncovered terrible plans to wreak havoc across the country. We organized a group of progressive military officers to carry out a coup on 15 January 1966 to stop a jihad and bring sanity to Nigeria, steeped in nepotism, corruption, and mass murders. The government of Tafawa Balewa, controlled by the premier of northern Nigeria, Ahmadu Bello, were using us in the army to repress the Middle Belt and western Nigeria. Houses and cars were burnt. Thousands were killed. There were 9 of us that planned the January 15th revolution. Majors Nzogu, Anuforo, Ifajuna, Ademoyega, Chukwuka, Okafo, Onwatuegu, and Obienu, and myself. However, 4 of us started it, Major Ifajuna and Major Ademoyega in the south, and Major Nzogu and myself in the north. We then united as a single revolution. I am the last of the 4 original revolutionaries. None published the complete truth. Only me, Colonel Emmanuel Nwobosi, is alive today to tell the final truth so that the lies will not triumph forever. They used us to repress the Middle Belt and the Yorubas. When we saw genocide, we began to disobey orders and swore to stop them. For instance, Major Chris Anaforo refused to release mass murderers caught with weapons and was court-martialed. He was replaced by Major Hassan Katsina, a northern Muslim willing to act. I was in Abeokuta, but refused to repress Yorubas. Instead, I opened our barracks as a safe place for them to run to. They told many lies about the January 15 boys to justify their genocide, but it is those of us that planned the revolution that they should have killed, not the 3 million innocent Biafrans that knew nothing. For years, I kept quiet, blaming myself and wondering whether at 27 I was too radical that my actions led to the death of millions. Today, the same evil in 1966 is being unleashed. As I watch, my sense of guilt has vanished because we were not the evil. We were trying to stop the evil. That evil is radical Islamism. I have decided to speak out and warn the world of the impending disaster if we do not stop it. Each time radical Muslims plan a jihad in their religious mission to conquer the world, they will fail. But in the attempt, thousands and even millions will die. That happened to us in Biafra. At this point, let me differentiate between peaceful, law-abiding Muslims and radical Muslims who want to kill others. to force their religion on them. The problem is that wherever peaceful Muslims are, there are some radical Muslims amongst them. That is why they began a jihad in 1966. That is why we had to stop it. That is why they killed millions of our people. That is why we declared Biafra. Because we are a peaceful people, and oil and water can never mix. My story is a warning to Nigerians. For years, I was prevented from speaking the truth by exile, prison, harassment, poverty, surveillance, and death threats held over many of the actors like Ojukwu, Zik, Awolowo, Ibiam, and the January 15 boys that survived. But as I watch today, many of the events that led to the revolution are happening again, like Boko Haram, Fulani militia, Niger Delta militants, Shiites, and mass murders. Some people think we acted wrongly in the January 15th revolution, but they may not be fully aware of the realities then. We were trained by the British to be patriotic, to give the ultimate sacrifice for Nigeria, and to stop anyone acting against the nation. Instead of our leaders using us to defend Nigeria, they were using us to suppress the citizens. We decided to arrest them for their atrocities because no one was willing to act. Not Zik, the president, who was powerless, not Ironsi, the head of state of the army, who was a conservative. There were many reasons why we had to act. One, to stop the killings in Yoruba land and the Middle Belt by NPC, the ruling party. Two, to stop the invasion of Yoruba land on 17 January 1966. Three, to correct the massive rigging of the 1964 elections. Four, to free Awolowo from prison and make him the Prime Minister. Five, to stop the terrible corruption, nepotism, and regionalism of the NPC, the ruling party. Five, to stop Ahmadu Bello's planned jihad. It was good that we acted to save the Yoruba and the Middle Belt people, and we thought that was enough to stop the jihad. We could not foresee that they will massively attack innocent Igbos. Blame those who decided to massacre our people for their evil. Today, we are fighting Buhari. He is killing Shiite Muslims and IPOB members. With the benefit of hindsight, we can see other ways of dealing with such evil. But for us in 1966, we just wanted to save the people from massacre. I wish to congratulate Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB for the good work they are doing to free our people from Nigeria and radical Islamism. Many of our people do not understand how vast IPOB is as an organization and the quality of the people that run it.
Yeah, I believe you heard it all. Those are the bitter truths that people are afraid to confront. You never hear them. The government don't want to accept it. When people talk about it, they become enemies of the state. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu started to talk about all these things for a very long time. That's why he is seen as an enemy to the powers that be. If If not, the agenda is very clear. The agenda to Islamize the whole Nigeria is too clear, it's too glaring that nobody can ever deny it. And the worst thing is that the government are acting in complicity to that. They are conforming to the idea. That's the way it is. The area will start to speak up and to act and put our actions where our mouth is, the better for us. Thank you and God bless you. Share the video for other people to see it. If it is your first time coming across my videos, I plead with you to follow my page and subscribe. God bless you.